there's so much more to Shine Spot than the actual product themselves. When people are buying Shine Spot, they're buying part of us, part of the passion and the culture we've built here. I like to balance education, entertainment, and emotion. I feel like that's the best marketing, and we are showing you in real time how we run a very successful detail shop using our product. Everyone that's here has been here for 4-5 years, and they're all self-led. They all want to be here. They all love their job. It's definitely one of the hardest things I've had to do is learning how to balance him being your boss, but also your dad at the same time.
Tell everybody listening what your business is and what you do there, and just give us kind of the synopsis of what success has looked like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work for Shine Spot. My dad started this business in 2008. He started mobile detailing in 1996 and then did that for a little over 10 years and then started Shine Spot. He started it just solely because he was super passionate about detailing and then also need more income. I have 3 brothers and my mom's a stay-at-home mom. So we need a little bit more income to provide for us. So he started Shine Spot in 2008 and that's kind of grown to this point. But we're a car detailing product company. We have 50 worldwide dealers, a big building here in Ventura, California. What I do here is handle all of the marketing and media. So all of the media you see on socials, I handle the website along with any graphics and stuff like that, and also participate in educational stuff for the customers. So it's a lot, but it keeps me busy and I love it.
Cool. Okay, I love this. I think a lot of people listening can resonate with how, like, it's fun to hear from the next generation and someone who started a company, started a business, started a movement, and now being able to pass that baton on to your children, give them something that they can inherit even beyond money, but an actual infrastructure, a business, even just the knowledge that comes with running a business. And I'm sure it's his dream come true to have his kids involved in it. Not every parent gets that. A lot of times kids want to go different directions. So kind of tell me a little bit of the story of you stepping into this and realizing it was your path and you wanted to kind of fit in here and align your dreams and your vision with the company.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I always wanted to work for my dad's business. Who wouldn't want to work for such a special company like what he's built? So out of high school, I had a knee injury during football. So I actually had to get surgery on my knee and I was planning on going and play football at Cal Lutheran here in Thousand Oaks. But after the surgery, I just thought that I wanted to get a little jump start to working for my pops. So right out of high school, I started working here and that was in 2019. And up to this point, it's been 6 years. It's definitely one of the hardest things I've had to do is learning how to balance him being your boss, but also your dad at the same time. And it's also was really hard for him trying to balance that too, being that we grew really fast in such a small amount of time. He's trying to balance all the stress of running a business along with trying to balance, fatherhood, but also being a good boss.
Yeah.
And then all at the same time, trying to treat me trying to teach me things to not be entitled. It's very easy for kids that work for their father to become really entitled. And I think that's the biggest problem that happens for sons working for their dad is they come in and they're kind of handed everything and they just get super entitled and no one at the company really respects them. So that was my dad's biggest fear. So he was really hard on me for a long time, but that's kind of what the podcast was about, what you were mentioning earlier. We kind of, dove deep into what that season looked like and how we were able to get to a point now that we're working side by side and also have that time for, him being my dad. But I think the biggest thing for me when I was working for my dad was when I moved out, that really helped. I lived at my parents' until I was 20, 22. When I moved out, it really helped me, balance because I had my own life outside of being around my dad all the time because I would go to work, he's there, go home, he's there. But moving out was really good, having my own space and then just learning as we go. And it helps having my dad as a boss just because he's very, takes ownership about a lot of things, even though, if he thinks he's right, he's totally open to being wrong and taking ownership of your actions. And that's just something you can respect so much. And that what keeps you kind of driven. Like, it's okay, he might have been hard on you in this situation, but he'll always come back and make you right. So we'll vote on that and build on that. So that's what helped me during all those hard years of, trying to find the balance. But with all that being said, I think the biggest thing for, someone that's watching, that's working for the dad is just to stay focused on kind of the end goal rather than, honing in on it so bad right now. Like, as long as you're father or your boss is willing to, grow with you per se, in terms of finding that balance between father and son and boss and employee. I think that's the key,
Mhm.
the key thing.
Yeah, I love
I
that.
could kind of sum it all up.
And even if people don't, yeah, work for their parent, I think that's just find great mentorship in the job that you're doing as you're studying, as you're learning the practice, as you're building your experience, whether it's a business you want to take over, a business you want to start your own eventually. I think remaining teachable, but also making sure you're in good scenarios where you're getting the mentorship you need and not just showing up for a job. So you have the long spectrum of not limiting yourself and being kind of trapped in something. So you have a unique take on that, being able to work for a family member. And I think a lot of people listening will fall in either category where they're either, they want to have their kids working for them one day, or they do have their kids working for them. How do we pass down the torch? How do we create legacy here? So I think that's really special. Can you take us back a little bit? I know you were younger, very young, obviously, when your dad started this company, but just kind of take us through the historical background of the company you're in now. It was kind of a bounce off of him doing the auto detailing. So tell me a little bit about where did the realization come that there needed to be this product line versus just stay in the detailing business? Where was that transition?
Yeah, so he was mobile detailing for, over 10 years before he started Shine Supply. But while he was detailing, he was using McGuire's, which is a very big product company right now, been around for decades. And he was actually a dealer for them. So he would go to dealerships and car washes locally here in Ventura County and, pitch the sale of selling McGuire's to them. And that's kind of where the product line idea came into play. Something about my dad is he was very passionate about detailing, but he wasn't a salesman.
Mm.
Like he did not like being a salesman. So it's actually funny that a lead trainer at McGuire's was like, dude, you are so passionate about detailing. Like you should start your own line. And my dad was like, I'm not a good salesman, like at all. I don't know how that would work. And he's like, I think people will be drawn to how passionate you are about detailing and, making stuff shiny and seeing the customer's reaction that it would do good. And, at the same time, my dad's trying to provide for me and my three brothers and my mom staying at home. So, 2008, he started Shine Supply. He went bankrupt with the economy. It's kind of like the worst time to start a company then, but actually went bankrupt 2008 and was in our garage for 6 years selling product. And then he got a shop in 2014.
Mm.
But I think the key part in where having his own detailing product company like took a turn is when Instagram came out.
Mm.
So I believe it was 2012 Instagram came out and he was like, oh, look at this brand or look at this app. He was showing me, I think me and my brothers are like, I think I'm like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Dad, I think that's for kids, like to share their stuff. And he was like, no, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna post my products. So we started posting his products, and I remember he posted a reel or a video on polishing metal with one of our metal polishes. And some dude was like, oh, that's awesome. Like you got such good results. And he placed an order from that video.
Mm.
And from there, he just started, that was like the little light bulb. And from there, he kind of just utilized Instagram to grow the business
Wow.
into basically what it is today. Yeah.
That was way ahead of its time for then because people were still fiddling around with
Yeah.
filters at that point and like, oh, wow, how cool. We can share pictures and social media. It's fun that you're old enough to remember that when that stepped into the scene, my kids were like one. I still remember, yeah, when that started based on when one of my kids, I just remember one of the first Instagram photos I posted was of my baby. And so it's not been around for very long. And I know from experience that it took people a while to recognize it as a tool for building a business, for getting sales. So he was way, way ahead of the curve to just see it for what it was and be able to step into that space. So it sounds like he had been selling out of the garage at that point only a few years post bankruptcy, post like the recession when it just impacted a ton of businesses. So he started building that up and recognizing this is a way that I can get more people and eyeballs on this product line. And from there, it sounds like it just kind of steamrolled and catapulted into something bigger. And you're saying his passion for what he was using the products for was really what sold it. And when he was not good at sales, if he was obviously better at sales than he thought, if he was kind of selling the passion and the transformation for cars being better, was it like the detailing he wasn't really great at selling, or was it not selling someone else's product? Do you kind of know where it clicked for him?
Yeah, so he like in terms of the sales topic, like that would be like going up to a dealership and be like, please, will you buy this product? Or going door to door and being like, will you buy this product? I think where the passion relied in is like, he truly loved what he did. And you can just like, when you're watching someone so passionate about something, like it moves you,
Mm-hmm.
especially when someone's so raw about something. Like, I just think that's so unique in today's society. I think a lot of things are like cookie cutter and staged per se, but I think people are just drawn to someone that is so passionate about what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and just want to get behind that. And then on top of all that, like the products are very good products. So seeing the results and then the passion of the person that's getting those results, I think people are just drawn to that
Mm-hmm.
um, through Instagram.
Yeah. And when he developed the products themselves, he already had this other brand that he was, selling. What was kind of missing in the product space that he saw the need to go create his own? I mean, I understand like somebody saying you should totally have your own to sell, that you would make more money than pitching someone else's product. But what did he have to do to make the product stand out against some of those more established brands or competitors?
So in the beginning, obviously, it didn't really stand out, obviously, because we were so small and it didn't stand out for a long time. But as the business grew and, word of mouth started, people started getting their eyes on the product. I think the biggest thing that's made us stand out is there's so much more to Shine Spot than the actual product themselves.
Mm,
I feel like when people are buying Shine Spot, they feel like they're buying like part of us, part of the 13 employees here, part of the passion and the culture we built here. Like people just want to be a part of that. And on top of all that, they get a great product.
mm-hmm.
So I think what draws people in is just how raw my dad has been just in terms of like life stuff. He'll post just motivational stuff like once a week on the Instagram stories. I think it's more of like the grit and the culture behind the product
Mm-hmm.
rather than it just being a product. I feel like a lot of the detailing product companies, they're just selling detailing product and showing you how to use them. There's not really anything added to that,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like I feel like,
There's no story or
our
culture.
our biggest yeah, there's no story. We started in the garage. We haven't been bought out by private investment. And there's just like an emotion you get from buying our stuff. I think that's what draws people. And I think that's what draws people now. And that's what has drawn people over the years
Mm-hmm.
until we kind of like blew up per se.
There's so many different directions that can lead to success. And I think you don't have to do all of them. Like, you don't have to have a product that is unique in its formulation and have a really powerful story and have, this big brand mission and perfect branding. But I think you need to have at least one of them. And then I think the other things kind of come over time too. And so I love seeing that it was the very reason it was successful in the beginning is the reason that it's still successful. So who is your target audience right now? Are you primarily selling this to car detailers? Are you selling this to dealerships? Like who's the primary customer base?
So the primary customer base probably up until 2020 was
Mm,
detailers, just strictly detailers. We're a detailing brand made by detailers. Like majority of the years of building Shine Supply, my dad was detailing with these products every single day and posting on the Instagram story. So obviously detailers are drawn to that. And a little small percentage was like DIY people, but up until 2020, a lot of detailers. But as we like in 2020, we hit a massive growth spurt within 6 months. And I feel like we've started to grow our more DIY customers like weekend warriors.
mm-hmm.
So I would say we're about like 50-50 in terms of our detailers and our DIYs. And then I would probably say we're about like 20% wholesale. Wholesale as in we have shops that carry our product,
Mm.
but we don't sell to any dealerships anymore, unfortunately.
Cool. Well, it makes sense because 2020 was the era of DIYers. It was the era of like direct to consumer marketing that really started to soar a lot more, right? Like you can now sell a product directly without having to go through. I mean, you did already have the consumer in that it was the car detailers. I just think there was more of that surge of people being like, "Hey, I'm stuck at home or I want to do this myself." So I think you kind of hit that market at a good time, which just widened the customer base of who you can sell to, and you already have that foundation, it sounds like, of the brand and being a high quality product, having really strong reviews. So now it's going to be the obvious choice for people who are, like you said, the weekend warriors, the people who want to detail their own cars. Yeah, makes perfect sense. So, what does that look like from a product space? Did you guys start with a pretty small product line and that's expanded over time? Or has it always been you've had a lot of things in the supply chain and it's just grown organically?
We started with 5 products, just like your basic products, but over the years, we've just launched new products. But I think one of the biggest problems with a lot of these detailing product companies is they'll launch a new product that's the same thing as another product, just like maybe tweaked a little bit, but it's the same use. And then they'll just promote it. And then it confuses the customer because you're like, well, I was just using this one. And then someone goes to their site and they're like, which one do I buy? So we're not one to launch a bunch of same products with a different label on them
Mm-hmm.
to eliminate confusion. Because at the end of the day, we are a detailing product company made by detailers. So a lot of our products have a system to them. So detailers can follow this system and be efficient and effective when they're working, because those are our roots and we'll always stick to those rather than just, getting a new soap that changes colors when you put it on the cars.
Mm-hmm.
But as of now, I think the line has just progressed, and as of like right now, we have a product for everything without oversaturating the line. Like someone can go to our website and clearly find what they want without being
Mm-hmm.
confused.
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't launch something that does exactly the same thing as another product just to get sales
Mm-hmm.
per se. So
Yeah. That,
yeah, it's just progressed into what it is today. Essentially, we don't. Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of product lines that do that very thing, even outside of your niche of car detailing products. Skincare, makeup. There's so many things that can be so you think it's confusing from a man's perspective. It's just as confusing sometimes from a women's perspective because you're like, these look like the same thing. What's the purpose here? It's like creating a need that doesn't really exist and then creating massive overwhelm with having too many complicated products that all have a slightly different, tool use or something. So that's smart just to keep it very, very direct so that it's not confusing. You're not overwhelming your customer base with too much to decide between. So you're in marketing. This is kind of your genius zone when the company. You mentioned your dad started with Instagram, putting it out there early on. Is that still your main marketing channel? And just kind of talk us through what that strategy has looked like as it's evolved too.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's still our main one that we have the biggest following base on Instagram. But up until 2021, our advertising was strictly Jeremy, my dad, the owner, on Instagram stories, like just showing the process of
Wow.
detailing cars. Because we have an active detail shop here. So Stevens Detailing is in the back of our building. We have a full shop and wash bay. So we have an active detail shop. And for up until 2021, it was strictly him on Instagram stories and posting videos and pictures of him using our products on customers' cars. And then in 2021, we started to transition out of that. My dad is a husband. He has 4 kids. He's a business owner. His life cannot revolve around him. The business can't revolve around him posting stuff on Instagram. That's just not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just not sustainable. Like I don't think a good business motto is to be completely reliant on one person.
Yeah.
So in 2021, we hired a like media dude, and we started to transition from Jeremy on the stories and Instagram 24/7 to someone handles the DMs. We would get a bunch of questions all the time and start to transition from just him. So I'd get on the video sometimes, talk about a product. Jeremy would get on the video sometimes, talk about a product, post videos of the detail shop, like the detailer working on a customer's car. But yeah, from there, we kind of just built off of it. And as of now, in 2020, beginning of 2024, we had to part ways with the media guy we had. And going into it, I didn't have any experience with the camera or social media. I mean, I like social media. I had it on my phone, but I was no expert at it.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it was on my heart to try and attempt to do it. So I told my dad, I'm like, before we jump to hiring someone, like, I think I can do it. I think I can, I think like, I feel like in my heart, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, which was cool for me to realize because before that I was kind of just in like a sales position, but we don't go out and get sales. So it
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like, it was in a wonky spot for about a year. So when that happened, I jumped in the media position and kind of just ran with it. So our marketing right now looks like, obviously I do my best to post 3 times a week on our Instagram. I like to balance education, entertainment, and emotion. Like I like to draw emotion out of people. I feel like that's like the best marketing,
Mm.
whether it's laughter or motivation. I think that that is very important to balance. Entertainment, as in like making a cool video of a car getting washed, just some music, cool cuts. Like it's entertaining for someone to watch. And then education being how to wash your wheels.
Mm.
So that's what I like to balance on our Instagram. We have 2 ambassadors per se. My buddy Anthony and my buddy Bryce. Bryce is on the East Coast and he targets like the truck audience. And we have Anthony who is in San Diego and he targets kind of like the car audience.
Mm.
So between my content that I create here at the shop and between Bryce and Anthony, that's kind of like our Instagram. And then I also filter those into TikTok and YouTube Shorts, which ideally I would like different stuff posted on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, but for now I'm kind of just reusing videos on there
Yeah.
because we do have different audience on each platform. But other than that, I do, our email marketing, our SMS marketing. As June, we just started doing paid ads. So for the first time ever in June, we did paid ads through Meta. And Anthony is our content creator for that. And then we just run the ads from there. Yeah,
Wow.
that's kind of our marketing right there. And then just raw stuff that we post on the stories, whether it's from my dad or me, just showing the movement of the team, post some cool pictures around the shop on the stories. Yeah, that's kind of like our strategy.
I love it.
Or my strategy.
I love even those 3 things that you said, like the education, the emotion, and the entertainment. Like that's so powerful and so simple. Sometimes social media marketing can be that simple, just having that framework that you literally rinse and repeat, no pun intended, or maybe kind of pun intended.
Yeah.
And it makes it so easy. And then even another important thing that you brought up is it's really not sustainable you want to have that personal branding and your dad's story and everything. And like that perspective as a detailer, selling to detailers is really effective. And then when you try to get to scale, like it becomes really constricting. So it's important to start bringing those other voices, other faces, other stories into the content so that it is something that you can take to a whole new level. So that's really smart. I think anybody listening in whether it's in your marketing or whatever, we've heard that enough that to scale, it can't be a 1-person show anymore. Like literally on social media, not a 1-person show, and in your business, it can't be. So I love seeing the way that you've been able to expand that. And really, I'm blown away by the fact that he grew the business as big as he has just from posting on Instagram stories every single day and showing those transformations.
Pretty much.
That's huge. That's so crazy.
It's pretty crazy. Everyone that we talked to about this in the podcast that I've talked to, it's like tripping out. It's gone to this point, but no, we're blessed.
Yeah.
We're blessed for sure.
It's
been inspirational to watch.
It just shows consistency pays off. Like we can get really fancy. And I think this is where the scaling component comes in, but look at how far you can go just being consistent with one simple thing and showing up every single day or showing up as consistently as you can. Sometimes we overcomplicate it and get in our own way because we think we need to have all the fancy things right as we're getting going, but just proof that you don't have to be in that category of trying to conquer all the things. And even with you posting the same content on those other platforms, simplicity is still better than nothing at all. And being able to multiply that content on other places where other audiences are hanging out is still going to get you further than not posting on them at all or trying to overcomplicate the strategy. So you mentioned like you have, the location, you guys are doing content there. So are you still doing detailing like with your products? Do you have a detail shop where people can still come in and use the services?
Yeah, so that's our marketing. That's what I use to film.
Yeah.
So we have an active retail shop. It's Stevens Detailing. It's been running for 30 years next year.
Mm.
And we have a packed schedule. I think it's booked out 2 months right now. And we have customers' cars come in every single day. We have 2 techs in there. We will use those vehicles to either shoot the entertainment to kind of videos where it's kind of like a cool vibey edit, or the educational ones, whether it's me talking about the product or my dad. Those are the vehicles we'll use, which is very unique. I think a lot of these detailing product companies they're not really detailers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard for just using a random car they found or an employee's car. It's nice, for me that is creating the content, to have a vehicle here. And it's very relatable from a detailer standpoint because these are customers' cars.
Mm-hmm.
And we are showing you in real time how we run a very successful detail shop using our products.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of helped us grab a lot of detailers, because we are detailers and we are using all of our products in a system designed specifically for detailers every single day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no like fluff here.
I love that. And it's
Yeah, it's all legit.
so helpful just to have it built in there. It's like your own little media studio where it's literally the prime place for you to be demonstrating your products. So where you said you've also kind of added more, you have a bigger customer base now that's not just detailers, it's, the weekend warriors, it's customers who are just buying for use for themselves. Do you keep that in mind? Do you try and make content that's directed at those people and at others, or is it not really change the formatting or approach to what you're posting?
No, absolutely. So we've definitely had to change the content to cater to both. And I think that's extremely important but I also, because at the end of the day, like the DIY and the weekend warriors, that is such a bigger market
Mm-hmm.
than, detailers. But we will always stay true to our roots and who we are, and what built this company is detailers, and we are detailers. So we will always keep our roots per se in the picture and always make content just like we've always been directed towards detailers, but we've also mixed in content for DIY, whether it's like how to clean your wheels or how to condition like your bed cover. That's not necessarily a detailer video,
Mm-hmm.
because, detailers are, as in terms of detailing, like the content difference would be like how to wash your car from start to finish
Mm.
compared to like how to do a 3-step paint correction.
Mm.
The 3-step paint correction is more professional, is only going to be doing that, rather with like how to wash your car from start to finish. That's more towards a DIY person.
Yeah.
But we try to balance the more like detailing focused tutorials, but also doing simpler tutorials. And that's one thing that Anthony, the person I mentioned that's in San Diego, he really helps with that DIY style tutorials, because he is a DIY.
Mm.
Like he does it in his apartment. So he helps bring that kind of like DIY, like kind of fast paced tutorial flavor for those people, while our strength, like me and my dad's strength, is going to be more towards like super in depth 20-minute tutorials on XY topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, that makes perfect sense. And I didn't even think about that. The educational content would be more for the people who are DIY, and some of that other stuff is going to appeal to people who are going to have a totally different context for using your products. And the cool thing is you can show all of it. I'm curious, I love following those accounts like where people are mowing lawns or they're power washing the driveway and you can just watch the whole process. Do you guys do those kinds of videos where it's just like watch the whole entire thing from start to finish? Because people love just watching transformation. Do those types of things work really well for you guys?
So it was funny when I did that podcast with Kurt, he asked the same thing. And no, we actually don't. And this is the reason. So I know I think it's great marketing to take junkyard car and take its wheel and clean it, and it's like a crazy before and after. But as I mentioned before, we have an active detail shop here, and our marketing is like super unique or relatable content. I think the before and afters are awesome, but that's barely, I think it demonstrates, okay, this clean's really good, but it's not really relatable for the consumer. You know, they don't have junkyard cars that they're cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to wash just a normal car from a normal person and show how our products work. So we don't really do that too much of that content.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not really knocking it. We like to stay in our lane
Yeah.
per se and not get off of our morals and principles in terms of like content stuff. So I stay in my lane and kind of just lean towards detailers and DIYs without going too far off the deep
Mm-hmm.
end on like DIY, because yeah, if we wanted like a crazy Facebook ad, we would go to the junkyard and get a tire and show how good one product cleans. But we don't do too much of that. We do a lot of ASMR washing videos. It's literally just no sound, camera on a tripod, and you wash the car.
Yeah, I can see that performing really well. Those are the types of videos I like to watch as
Yeah.
well. Give me the
Yeah,
satisfaction.
those ones do the best.
Yeah, because people, when they get the
Yeah.
dopamine hit of watching it, it actually makes them, like when I watch people organize their houses or clean a surface or something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go clean. I'm suddenly in the mood to do this because it was so motivating and such a little hit, you know? So that makes sense that that would work well. As you guys have expanded, I know that you're more in the marketing realm, but just systematically, what are some of the core things that your dad had to do to add more team members in to even help this company grow to the point it is? I know you mentioned you have 7 team members, I think it was. And what does everybody do? Like, what was kind of the main thing that really helped it to grow bigger?
Yeah, so in 2020, we had 4 people. It was me and 3 other people, and then my dad. And we had to go from 4 employees to 10 employees within 2 months. And it's kind of been like a roller coaster of staff since then, just trying to find the right people here. And it's tough. It's really tough to find, you know, loyal, truthful, hardworking individuals that, you know, just want to work and be in a good spot without having greed be in the picture. But I think that's been the most difficult part, is finding staff and a good team. But the biggest turning point for my dad in terms of staff is he talked to one of his mentors and he said that, you know, this was when we first started growing, and he was talking about hiring an operations guy, and it's going to hurt you to pay him, but you have to do it because it's just, you need that point person that has the brains. Because my dad, very, very passionate, one of the hardest working people you'll ever meet in your life, but he doesn't, I feel like having a super gritty, hardworking person, very passionate, and then you have a more technical, like nerdy kind of person, 2 different people.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the nerdy one.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought in kind of like a nerdy operations guy, and he kind of held down the for a couple of years, and that really helped. I think that's the first step. If you see like massive growth, an ops guy is very important, because the responsibility, the brain aspect of the business is kind of not on the owner anymore,
Yeah.
and kind of on someone that specializes in that. So that really helped. But right now things have changed. We're at 13 people and we do not have an operations manager. Our operations manager about 4 months ago kind of walked out. He said it was kind of too much for him here. So we've just been rocking with no operations manager for 4 months, and it's very unique, but everyone that's been here has been here for 4, 5 years, and they're all self-led. They all want to be here. They all love their job. We pay them very well because they're worth it, and we really invest in them. You know, I feel like the biggest thing that my dad has focused on in the past year is building the team up. That's been his main goal, because a lot of the stuff that he was doing building this business is now handled by, you know, the team. So his biggest thing has been building the team up and kind of stepping into this next season of his life, which I think is really going to be like leadership and mentorship for whether it's a team or other men.
Mm.
But he's kind of built them up to a place where they can just manage themselves. Our shipping department, we have 4 people in there, and Tony's our lead in there. He leads that department. We have Mondo and Beckham, who are in the downfilling department, and they lead themselves. Mondo's been here for 5 years. And then Tony in the shipping department, the lead in there, has been there for 6 years. And then we have my younger brother, actually, his name's Corey. He's been working here for about a year now. He does all of our inventory, so ordering and inventory. And then we have Terry, who does wholesale, and we have Alyssa, who does accounting. And then we have Cole and Logan do customer service. And then Hermone and Sam are our detailing techs. And then, yeah,
Wow.
that's everyone. But they're all just self-led. And my dad, we have a weekly meeting every Thursday, and it's all about just motivating them. For one, we always have topics we answer to kind of get the positivity up and draw some like critical thinking out of them. We go around, talk about one good thing that happened to us that week, and kind of have each lead from departments bring us a black binder. Any concerns, any problems they had, it was also like the flow of their department. So shipping would be like how many orders they got every single day, how many items in each one, what they did after. Downfilling gives us a log of what they filled. But Corey does a good job. Who's inventory he's a lot like my dad in terms of kind of takes ownership over stuff. He's a really good critical thinker. So he kind of keeps tabs of everything in there and relays that to the boss. And we've been rolling with that for about 4 months now, and it's been awesome.
That's cool.
But I think it's very unique. I wouldn't recommend, unless you have a very motivated and solid team, it allows you to do this kind of thing, but it's definitely not the norm for a business of our scale to not have an operations manager. But to answer your question, to wrap it all up, like, an ops guy is very, very important, because without our operations manager that was here for 4 years, we wouldn't really have a foundation on what the backside of the business needs to look like. So operations manager, where it kind of hurts to pay him, very important.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably able to run as well as it does now because you had him there for 4 years. So even if it's something that is like a fractional operations officer to come in and just get those systems set up in the first place, then you can allow that to sustain itself. But yeah, you might find the need for it eventually as you guys grow to other levels, or you lose some of these employees if people, life happens. But it sounds like that's been a really huge foundational tool to help you guys get people in the right places, be self-motivated, understand how they're contributing to the greater whole, because that's crucial for being able to manage multiple people, manage a team, have the shared vision. Operations is very crucial. And you're right, most creatives or business owners who are very passionate about their craft don't typically have that operational brain that allows them to see the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. Well, thank you for sharing everything you have. Where is the best place for people to go check out your products, check out more about your guys' story and your business?
So our website is shinespy.com. All of our socials are at ShineSpy. My handle is ShineSpy Junior. Super easy. But yeah, that's where you can find us.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for sharing your perspective as the son and the employee, and, helping operate something so big, and even just giving us insight into your dad's story and the formation of the company and the things that he's done to be able to get it to this point. It's been super valuable. We love seeing behind the curtain of a strong business. So thank you again for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.